guys notice anything internet-wise? Did the stream go down? That's a little concerning, but I guess we're back for the moment, and I just assume we're going to hope it doesn't happen again. Alright, let's get into Team Liquid vs Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Bottom right side, Kelazhur has been playing some good TVZ lately. We'll see if he can do enough to match up with his tough opponent here. As in the top left-hand side of Belgrade, it will be Rogue to start this series off. Let's see what happens. The image was static. Yeah, but I mean, the image can be static and the stream could have just straight up buffered, right? So that's what I was mostly wondering, if the stream like stopped and buffered and stuff, or if it was just okay. I ain't dropping a few frames lately. It has been kind of stormy weather in England, and there was a lot of damage done to places, so and maybe something to do with that the last few days. But anyways, let's get this underway and see what happens. Kelazhur, like I say, I think is obviously going to be an underdog here, but he's been playing some cool TVZ lately. I'm interested to see what he comes out with to try and take down Rogue. I'm interested. I'm feeling something fun. Oh, Kelazhur just Kelazhur is eating his monitor. Kelazhur just went for a full-on lean into the webcam. That was an interesting moment. Let's just get ourselves into, well, Reaper is on the way up. Hatch, gas in the pool is coming through. Just going to see a couple drones on the way as well as we get this continuing at the moment. So, yeah, so far so good. Hey, what's up, Euthermal? Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everyone from the Euthermal stream. Obviously watching the Liquid boys here as Kelazhur is taking on Rogue to start off this best of 7. Just going to be seeing the SUV to scout right now. Reaper is about to pop out. And, yeah, just Hatch, gas, and pool from Rogue all finishing up. So, getting that completed. And the Reaper going to start making its way out across the map. So, pretty much as we'd expect up until now. If you were expecting anything particular from Rogue, well, he's been enjoying just a bit of Ling Bane lately. He does obviously still mixing some roaches. On a map like this, I could maybe see him playing some roaches, right? Quicker rush distance. It's one where the Terrans like to push a lot, so maybe the roaches can help you with that a little bit early on. So that's what I'm kind of expecting in that regard, at least. As we see this Reaper going through for a few of those Zerglings already and going for a little bit of a trade out to start things out. Reaper gets turned around. And yeah, so far just kind of going to continue through with that Reaper just hanging on the edges and waiting for its next opportunity to make a move forward and get something out of this. The CC in the main base is going to be setting up, so getting that ready. We'll see just a nice quick 3cc into a starport, and just for the most part standard from Kelazhur as well. He's not trying anything too quirky against Rogue himself. He's just happy to kind of accept this going into at least something of a macro game for now. And yeah, letting it play from there, so that's kind of cool. I'm a fan of that, so I always like it when our players come in with a little bit of confidence, right? And they say like, oh yeah, you know, we can kind of just do this. This is okay. This is fine. So yeah, I was excited about that for sure. You just have a couple of Hellions and a Reaper escaping up towards the top side. Just going to be moving around. Couple of Queens going to come across and look to block the couple Hellions and the Reaper as well. It's just making a little bit of that. Again, typical again early game movements between the Terran and the Zerg, as Hellions will not find a way up this ramp, so they get turned away once more. We are just going to be having a single Marine is picking through that single Overlord that's kind of just flying on by at the moment. So Overlord coming in. Going to get a full scout, including the Viking popping out at the starport, and we'll see another unit starting up on the starport without an add-on, so you really get full information. I mean, Rogue knows everything. He knows about the OV, he knows potential for a medevac, but most likely a Liberator on the follow-up. That's very common after the Viking. Yes, sometimes you go medevac, and you can sometimes do, like, Hellbat things, but I think he saw enough to be kind of confident, and either way, I mean, his prep's going to be similar either way, right? So, pretty cool stuff, and It's going to be seeing that Viking still chipping away at the Overlord. We'll get rid of that in the next couple moments. So there goes our Ovi. Killed off already. More Hellions still rallying up to the top. So it's going to be up to 7 Hellions at the front. Wants to see if there's a chance to get into that natural mineral line and start roasting, but doesn't really find the opportunity just yet. As you see, our engineering base still continuing through. Our double evolution chamber is continuing up. All of that good stuff is continuing in for now. There's the Liberator through the bottom side of the map, so just bringing this along, and again, a couple of engineering bays coming through as well. The wall off at least stops the run bys. You do get a few lings here. Obviously, you don't get into the natural, but you will get into the third base. Drones have to split as Rogue. Gonna take a lot of damage. At the same time, Kelazhur's having to make sure these lings do not break into his natural, because obviously that would be disastrous. That would be a lot of SCVs going down. These Hellions still alive. Kelazhur obviously distracted on the other side of the map as well, though. Just keeping that depot alive. Wow. Just long enough it survives to make this okay. Kelazhur actually ended up with 15 drones, so he did find a few more at the very end, and Kelazhur getting good damage done. 15 drones killed off. Good amount of lings, and look, he's killed 5 Overlords, so the Liberator, I think, got the rest of those drones. I mean, a few of them were still vulnerable on the third base, but I do think he maybe missed that opportunity. Unfortunately, like I say, I think he was busy trying to make sure he was defended back at home, which is important, and Kelazhur comes out. There's a head on Workers. So head on Workers, fantastic stuff. Is just going to be seeing our armory dropping down. A couple of engineering bays have got an SCV stuck in it, but you don't need to kill that off. You can just evacuate it with a medevac. You guys don't want to know how many of those SCVs I just attacked with my Marines before thinking, a medevac can just lift you out of trouble there, buddy. So I'd like to say sorry to all the SCVs I killed unnecessarily in the past. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys are glad to not see me on the ladder very much anymore. Armory comes through, so we'll be able to start our 2-2 pretty much immediately from Kelazhur as well. That's going to be needed because he is behind on the upgrades. Rogue has got a faster 1-1, just by 30 seconds or so, and obviously that means he's likely to try and keep up straight into 2-2 and try and maintain a little bit of an upgrade lead. The Viking goes down again. Credit to that Viking. It got a lot of Ovies this game, so he can't be upset about what that was able to get done. Is now he's going to stem those Marines back because there's Lings trying to get into the natural. He split a few away to the third base. The rest run out of there and just keep themselves safe for the moment. That will be the end of that. So a lot of Banelings morphing from Rogue over on the right-hand side then. So hoping to kind of roll these through as the Widow line is setting up on that ramp, hoping for a big connection. I'd love to see that right-hand side because I want to see what this Widow line does. Potential for big hit on the Banelings. Yup. All but 2 go down, and Rogue is having some trouble right now because Kelazhur is able to keep on applying pressure, and he's completely shutting down Rogue's attempt to be aggressive. Lifts up, boosts out of there. Both medevacs survive, even if one is low HP. Apparently the rest of these mines went off, so more of the Lings just went down too, and Kelazhur is amassing a pretty substantial lead right now. Every map matters so much in a matchup like this one, and right now Kelazhur is looking to put Team Liquid into a very good start to the match, and obviously it's, you know, just one map now isn't necessarily going to tilt everything in their favor, but everything helps. None of these matches are easy, so getting a map wherever possible is only going to, well, it's the way to approach the series, one map at a time, right? And just taking anything you can. Right now, Kelazhur was kind of getting into a good spot to maybe do that. Obviously, don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but, you know, he did good damage initially. He set up into a good place. He's now Widow Mine dropping, and that's going to be frustrating as we go off. Oh, actually, that's a bit unfortunate as he only gets 2 drones for 3 Widow Mines. 1 mine left on the medevac, which will come in here, but Rogue paying perfect attention. Not going to mess up against it. He uses the Banelings to clear it out, which is a bit of a shame, perhaps. Because they're taking this as another chance just to clean up creep. Still holding the lead in the game. 10 worker lead, army supply lead as well. Oh, Widow Mine connects on a decent chunk of units. There was a little bit of a split there, so it wasn't maximum splash damage, but it was still pretty good as Kelazhur gained 30 supply lead. Can he hold this lead, and can he push with it to really close this game out and give the Liquid that 1-0 start? Rogue has not been perfect this season in the World Team League, and that's part of the reason why Dragon Phoenix Gaming are in the position they're in, where they're not guaranteed playoffs, where they're in a bit more trouble than you might expect. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind, that again, it's just not been a perfect season for them. Widowmines unloading and burrowing. One Widowmine goes down. Next one already. So we already pick off a couple of drones here. As the Hydras get rid of a medevac, the army of Kelazhur moving up to the top side of the map. Marines, mines coming along, just going to be scanning through and getting rid of a little bit more creep spread. Continuing to burrow up on the high ground. We're going to be moving in from the right-hand side. Widow Mines burrowing, medevacs coming through. There's a lot of Lings coming in. These Widow Mine shots, man, they just felt like they went dead center on the Lings. They blew up a little bit of Marine action, I think, but still a lot of Lings cleaned out, and we're still pushing up the left, denying this 5th hatchery. I mean, this is going to go down. There goes that Overlord. We lift up. Baneland's going to get blown up. At the same time, over here, we need to just evacuate what we can. A medevac falls. This was a little bit worse for Kelazhur, but again, he's going to get this hatchery over here. And overall, just keeping on trading around the map, killing Ovies. These Widow Mines are going to come off cooldown. Do we get one shot? We do not. That was close, though. I'm pretty sure that Widow Mine was a moment away from just shooting everything that was surrounding there, which would have just been another connection to add to the counter of this series, which has been definitely working against Rogue. His, play against the Widow Mines have not been great. And of course, with Kelazhur keeping up so much pressure on the map, Rogue has not been able to do a couple of things. First of all, tech up into Hive and 3/3 upgrades. He's not been able to move on in towards Lurkers very easily. And he's not been able to counterattack at all. So Kelazhur has obviously just not had to worry about his own economy. That's just running at, perfect rate at the moment. No issue at all. There is the Seismic Spines. There is the Hive tech finally being put to use. But again, we're still missing stuff, like I say, like 3/3 isn't ready yet, right? Or on the way even, and you're only just moving in towards these Lurkers. Now, this is a run-by from Rogue, but it's going to come at the cost of a massive army of Kelazhur being across the map. And yes, he loses 15 SCVs, but he killed a lot of the Zerg army there. However, all of those Widow Mines were stacked, so Kelazhur loses a ton of his splash damage right away. This is possibly the worst fight he could have taken. I don't even think a Widow Mine got to shoot. I mean, all of those Widow Mines just blowing up at once, and that's going to swing the supply massively on the back of that counterattack as well, which obviously killed SCVs. That is the combination of things that Rogue needed to get back into this. Because he just needed to be free. I think he was rushed because of the run-by, or felt rushed because of the run-by, but all he had to do was split those mines a little bit and just start burrowing them ahead of time, right? Start burrowing a few of them further back and have somewhere to run to. Instead, he had to do all of that on the fly, and that wasn't pretty. And that was actually, well, it was rather ugly, in fact. Yeah, that wasn't great at all as our Lings come down since Tower gets picked off. Just going to be seeing our SCVs running around between the bases. Lings continue through. They're going to burrow up on that mineral line on the right side. A couple more SCVs continuing to fall. These Marines and Marauders coming in, so a few of those Lings get picked off. And more Lings coming around. That's going to be a Widow Mine shot to connect on a lot of Lings once again. Rogue still down a little bit on supply, but obviously now having had the chance to get to Lurkers, well, that's always a turning point of this TVZ. That's always going to slow this matchup down a whole bunch. So we're watching to see how this turns out now, basically. Let's see what happens. 5-4 still stemming up around the upper right as well, so making its own little bit of a play there. And obviously all these Lurkers on hold position. That's going to be deadly. Oh no, we scanned for them, but oh my god, he's actually going to lose the entire Bioforce. The hold position on the Lurk is just too good to be true. A free path to a building base, and Kel's taking damage to the counterattack as well. Widow Mines will clean up some of these Lings, but others are burrowed. So do we know that? Do we drop a scan? Oh, the army dying in the top right is absolutely brutal. Rogue with some freaking plays on those Lurkers. Again, the hold position is disgusting. It's one of those things which I really think is... to me, it's one of those question marks where... I know, like, hold position Lurkers don't always work out, but I feel like it's when they do, it's like, geez... you don't scan one place, and there's a lot of situations this can apply in, right? You don't scan a burrowed Baneling bomb, for example, and something like that, but... it's like, it's just that one move that can do so much and completely turn a game. And don't get me wrong, I think Rogue was turning this game anyway, but he was still down on supply. And maybe if Kelazhur gets up there, denies that base, it just keeps Rogue down on 4 bases, and maybe the speeding of this game changes otherwise. But yeah, those burrowed Lurkers, it's just rough. I mean, you just gotta be scanning ahead. You gotta know what you're attacking into and taking away the possibility of plays like that as Kelazhur. You've got this fantastic tool, which is the scan. Make use of it. Scan ahead. Know what's happening. Know what you're playing for. As we do have a few more lurkers making their way around this side, and Kelazhur just gonna have to back it up. He's still got a lot of mines, and I think that's what the observer was pointing out. He's got a tech lab on the factory. I don't know if he was pointing out that or maybe something else, but not a lot of tanks, right? Which would be pretty good at kind of holding back some of these lurker push-ins, right? It'd be a good part of like holding back some of those attacks, which are actually kind of problematic for Kelazhur as things wrap around a couple ghosts here, and Kelazhur is just having to deal with Rogue being all over the place at the moment. Look, is burrowing again, a bunch more SCVs going down, and trying to get some snipes off, but he can't even link up a couple of snipes properly to get rid of lurkers right now. As Kelazhur's economy in the gutter, 37 SCVs remain. We're going to turn around, we're going to get rid of these lurkers up here, but even that's expensive, it feels like, as just Marines take a bunch of damage all at once. This time I think the Ghosts get, again, a couple of snipes, but nothing to finish off the lurkers, and these lurkers just keep moving forward, and Rogue is just aggressively pushing his way anywhere and everywhere. GG, and Rogue gets himself back into the game that was otherwise looking troubling. Brings it back. Keeps this series kind of the way we maybe think it should go as he takes the first map for after this game. Look at that. They start the game as soon as we have someone to put on the tree. Like, Wardy has something to do. Better start the game. Alright, well, let's go into the game number 2 then. Bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player is Kelazhur. Bottom left-hand side, our red Zerg player is Rogue. DVG were, of course, coming into this league once again kind of just favorites for the season. And they have had a lot of upsets. They lost their first match of the season to Team GP, which turned out to be a magical run from Team GP that's still ongoing. They might see them through to even the playoffs at this rate, especially with an Afrika Freaks loss today. That's amazing for the Team GP boys. Yeah, Dragon Phoenix just 4-4 right now. A really rough season, right? They also lost to Alpha Rex, they lost to Afrika Freaks, they lost to Psystorm. That was just last week they lost to Psystorm, so really looking to bounce back strong this week here. Otherwise, yeah, they really would have just... Yeah, just been a rough season for them. Not really much else to add to that, right? I mean, it's just been bad at times. Expect more from a team that's as prestigious and as well-rounded as the Dragon Phoenix gaming squad. And that's really true as well, right? They've just got a stacked roster, all 5 players. Rogue, Dark, Pure Hero, Zest, right? I mean, I'm talking about multiple different GSL champions there. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about. And yet they've only managed to win one of these team leagues. Second place last season, Team NV got it done. Makes it fun, right? It'd be boring if they just dominated every single time. It's been fun that they've been losing so much this time around, so... Hell yeah. Just getting set up peacefully here so far. Nobody is going off the beaten track with their builds or so it's been pretty standard for the moment. And obviously hoping that it stays that way. Because we like a bit of standard, right? We want to see a bit of macro, especially after Rogue fell behind that last time around. I'm excited to see what happens this time. So, yeah, let's have it, Rogue. Let's have it, Kelazhur. See what you can do. Like I say, Kelazhur has been playing some good TVZ lately outside of this, outside of what we just saw. So I'm playing against a Laser the other day in the ESL Open Cup. He played a good game there. Yeah, he's just been playing well lately. So excited to see what else Kelazhur can bring to the table. These few Marines just in a fun little place over there, just in case they get... I'm assuming just the idea is if there's a Ling run by, you can get them into position right away to deal with stuff and to make sure that that is not as much of a problem. Like I say, that's my assumption at least. I was going to see a few Marines continuing out. I was going to be seeing them actually jumping on this Overlord right now, so Ovi going to take a bit of damage. Yeah, doing a little bit of damage right there and just decent little bit of setup here still for the moment. Continuing through and just waiting to see what shall be next, what the next move still will be. It's going to be dropping in the main base, but not really much happening with that, right? Just kind of continuing through without too many issues. Yeah, and she wasn't so bad. We'll just kind of chill out then and continue for now. Roaches have been the choice so far from Rogue as Kelazhur gets his engineering base underway, knowing the importance of getting those upgrades up and rolling nice and quickly. Not going to be messing around when it comes to waiting for those. Coming across is going to see our alien just kind of getting through, but not really much to really be done there, right? It's just kind of a little bit of a look, hi, what's up, and then move on with the day. So as we do move on with that day, we see what comes up next, and again, for the moment, there's kind of a lot of setting up to be done, right? Just going to be seeing this lib being pushed back a little bit, and yeah, just going to be seeing a few more drones continuing through. Again, picked off, I mean, nice little bits of harassment, but it feels as though obviously you're not really slowing Rogue down a serious amount, so Rogue is otherwise looking to be in a pretty reasonable spot still. Feeling pretty comfortable overall, and yeah, just feeling good right now. Looking good. Actually, going to see a Nidus coming up. It's a little bit more of an aggressive approach than I was even thinking we might see from our Zerg player here. Just going a little bit more aggro, a little bit more kind of like straight up in your face. A few roaches coming around and again, just seeing what they get up to, seeing what's open in the middle of the map, see if there's any opportunity for them to actually get damage done. Not really, right? I mean, Kelazhur's not really leaving like a chunk of units unattended or anything, so it's looking pretty reasonable in that regard. But with the Nidus up, we're going to Nidus the main, while obviously the main army comes through the center. No Roach speed, though, and that's a mistake from Rogue to not have Roach speed yet, so those Roaches are surprisingly slow. I feel like I've never seen the Roaches be this slow, actually. You know, it feels like they are really slow right now. However, the Nidus in the main completely unresponded to from Kelazhur, who is just going to jump on this first group of units, however. I mean, that's the way to do this, because you got to think that a lot of the units are going to be going into the main base. So, yeah, this is, to me, the right approach, given the situation we've ended up in now. Just jump on one half of this and then go over to the other half afterwards. As we are going to be seeing the Roaches still hanging around up in the main. They're going to go for a factory kill. Factory is going to get taken down, plus 2 armor on the way through here, plus 2 attack is coming up as well. I'm just going to see a ton of roaches continuing through at the moment. And it's going to be +2 attack at least going down, so that part is denied. Rogue still just making units, so pretty committed to this himself off the 66 drones. Kelazhur gets the Nidus, so he'll get a chunk of roaches at the end for free. And yeah, finally roach speed finishes, and I do wonder how different this attack might have looked if Rogue had had the mobility of roach speed to just help him get into better positions and more useful positions right away, etc. So that would have looked very different in general. Couple more roaches up to the top side, just going to get picked away at, and they're going to go down as well, so they will also fall. Now a couple Marines, some SCVs is going to go and work their way through this Nidus. The Nidus gets taken down as well. Just going to be seeing more Marines stemming up the right. Roach Ravager taking some shots. A couple corrosive battles coming down. Orbital Command lifts back up, and we've got a siege tank still trying to keep this Roach force at bay, so just trying to hold that back, keep it going. I mean, obviously you've had to lift the third for a little bit here, but I mean, if you can get that back mining, Kelazhur is genuinely catching up in supply, so it is looking to be better and better as time passes by, as Kelazhur keeps himself alive at the moment. Does get rid of the Nidus, but not before a whole bunch of units have come out of it, so they're already moving around as well and creating issues. More Roach Ravager around the back of that third base mineral line. Now the Roach is in the main. Well, there's a tank that is SimCity'd away, so that might be able to hold on, as now Kelazhur's supply has dropped off a little bit more. It's been a little bit worse for him the last few moments, so ups and downs right now. Ups and downs thus far. Well, I kind of get through to a point here where Kelazhur is once again going to catch up on supply, again stabilizing as things settle down, and that's the issue for Rogue. Once he has to settle down and buy a little bit of time, it gets kind of bad for him, and now it's a lot of tanks that he's attacking into, so these tanks are going to put in some serious work, and Rogue's going to lose a lot. So this fourth base is kind of just being used for high ground vision, which is kind of amusing in a way. It's just sat there being like, yeah, I see your high ground, I see what your opponent bringing out of this. Like I say, there are a lot of tanks. I'd love to see the two tanks on the very bottom just be split up a little bit, just in case they get double killed by corrosive biles. That just feels very avoidable, and when you're playing someone like Rogue, avoiding stuff like that seems like a pretty popular thing to do. He's going to get rid of the Nidus, but it does open the Roach Ravager come in from the right side where, okay, the tank fire is a little bit weaker. Now the Marines are going to commit through. They're just going to target down Ravagers, which I think is obviously very powerful as well. Ravagers drop quickly, and they are expensive, so you're getting a lot of value out of just target firing those down right away. Obviously, +2 missiles coming through. Another attempt of a Nidus just a bit further back towards the gold there, as the Kelazhur comfortable to move forward right here, and is going to come on in. Obviously, he's got that +2 armor, just no +2 attack because that was the engineer in the bay that was denied earlier. And that's the awkward part of this. It feels as though Kelazhur does very, very well, and then he just tries to press the issue, and it just feels like he runs out of steam a little bit. He kind of hits a brick wall, and he has to slow it down again. It's going to be seeing +3 armor coming through on the engineering bay now, as a couple of barracks continuing up as well. Roaches and Ravagers opening up the rocks over here, and just going to be seeing the Nidus coming down next to the tank, but Marines are still responding in the main base. So good blood job by Kelazhur. He got the fourth base up, which means he's got the plantry to help him in this position. He loses another tank or so, as Rogue's still just massing Roach Ravager. I guess the problem is if Rogue backs off for a second, Kelazhur just gets to stabilize, and then I'm sure he's going to make a push or something, and that's where Rogue's probably going to be caught in the transition. So that's why he's trying to transition while being aggressive, which obviously is a range of mixed successes so far, but Kelazhur comes up, catches these Roaches trying to come back home again, focusing on the Ravagers as he moves through. As the other Roaches show up, it's time to back away, but this is like a pure Roach army. There's not even Ravagers involved now. This is like pure roaches here, which is actually very surprising to see. Yes, he just hadn't had the chance to morph the Ravagers in yet. He had some of the gas forward still. And his Marauders down the bottom side. Gonna grab this Overseer. You can see our Marines coming through and just the Spore Crawler firing away a little bit as Hydrogen coming in, a couple of Infestors coming out. Now is the time for Kelazhur to push. This is where his army is at its absolute strongest, where he's been able to max out, and Rogue doesn't quite have his transition online just yet. So moving through just slightly now, and just going to be seeing the hatchery taking some damage. A lot of tanks getting set up. That's an insane tank line. If you can keep them safe from the Ravager Biles, well, those tanks are going to just create some wonderful opportunities for you here. Tanks still pressing forward, just going to be stimming through. Corrosive Pile is going to force the split. And you can just see there's a lack of damage output really right now for Rogue in terms of what he can actually kill off in, you know, quickly enough. Now there is going to be Nidus still coming down across the map. Rogue wants to create distractions and disruptions. That's a major fungal. Some medevacs do... I mean, some Biles do connect. I actually thought the medevacs at point there, once they'd gone out of range of the Biles, should have just turned and healed, and they maybe could have kept a few more of the Bio units alive. The fungal was the one thing that Rogue was really waiting on. Is that Nidus up in the main base? Obviously, I'm not observing, guys, so I can't go check myself. I just see, I think he's going to try another Nidus in the main base now, after one was just actually denied. I was just wondering, because there was still a red blob in the main, but I guess that's the Overlord. Yep. His Marines have been great at defending the Nidus. He's not really let anything happen from that. Lurkers are coming up, but when you're building Lurkers and there's already this many tanks and libs on the map, that's the issue. Definitely a problem. It's going to stem forward. These Ravagers and Roaches coming through. Nidus Network is going to get placed down. A lot of tank fire here just going to continue as it's going to see our Bioforce continuing in. I think Kelazhur's really got a chokehold on Rogue at the moment, and Rogue is doing a great job of expanding elsewhere, by the way. He's making bases around the top of the map. At the end of the day, he needs to hold these bases as well, otherwise the other bases don't really count for all that much, because, you know, then Kelazhur just rotates around to those eventually, and you're not going to have had your production kept alive to keep them safe. Big counterattack on the third base. It's just Zerglings, though, and, well, they're going to do okay. There's not a lot immediately responding from Kelazhur. Just because he has so much over here. Now the tanks are a little bit choked up, so he loses 3 in quick succession to Ravager Biles. And this tank count is being worn down a little bit. Kelazhur, are we getting into some danger here? Is it taking you too long to push in? And do we maybe need to see something going around the other bases on the map and start to shut some of those down? Because at the moment they are mining very freely. Kelazhur's played a good continued defense. It's just, again, can he finish tying the knot on this game where, again, he's just got kind of Rogue where he wants him. He just needs to really finish it up. I'd love to see these tanks splitting a bit more. I'm just worried. Imagine just one Viper came out and one Viper just drops a Blinding Cloud. Like, so many of the tanks get caught in 1, 2 Blinding Clouds. Just like to see a bit more of a spread, but it might not matter because this fight's happening right now anyway. And as long as he's fighting without the tanks in the big way, as we just move up the natural ramp, that's the end of the Lurkers then, because that's the Lurker den going down. Lurkers will try and move in a position to defend, but they get blasted by tanks immediately. And that means that, yeah, you can't build any more Lurkers now for a little while. And Rogue will continue to be in some trouble here. I'm kind of sad we don't have Rogue's camera on. I want to see his reaction when this game wraps up. As Kelazhur gets it 1-1 with Rogue and sets Liquid up into a good start. You can't ask for much more than that from Kelazhur against someone like Rogue, as Kelazhur gonna celebrate a little bit here, and that is gonna be GG's. Kelazhur takes the 1-1 against Rogue. A good start for Liquid in. Alright, Harstem versus Hero maps 3 and 4. Harstem had some good PvP earlier this season. He took down Classic, if I'm not mistaken. That was a really cool result for Liquid against Alpha X. As we get this up and ready to begin. Harstem's the bottom right, Heroes in the top left-hand side as we get this PvP underway. And the way the DPG logo is positioned on the camera of Hero makes it look as though he has like a DPG poster or something in the background. For a moment I was like, wait, he's got DPG like background? It's like, oh no, it's just the logo on top of the camera, right? It's Hero. Gonna play a tricky little opening here. Look at him go, putting the gateway delf down to the side, and well, that's just kind of a little bit of intrigue to start us off for sure. Harstem also has the Liquid crest on the bathroom door. Yeah, that one didn't look... It was just the way it's framed on Hero's screen. It looked really very much so as though it was like... as though there was like a bit of intentional positioning there. You know what I mean? Like, it just really looked to me as though it was actually something. Obviously, it's not. But, yeah, there's my story for the first moment or two in the game. Obviously, 1-1 between Liquid and DPG. I think the most realistic way to win this for Team Liquid is if they are able to take this to a... basically, if they're able to take this to an ace match. So if Harstem gets a map here, and then Clem just gets a map off Dark, you take it to an ace match. It's possible, right? If Harstem gets a map here, Clem could 2-0 Dark. I don't think that's necessarily the most likely outcome or anything. It's possible you don't take a map, but I think if Liquid want to win, again, it's a case of take a map just here, take a map there, and slowly build up your power in this league, and slowly build up kind of just where you are at. Now, Harstem, like I say, has had some good PvP lately, so we'll see if that sticks around as he plays against Hero here. And if you can win a map, brilliant. If you can win 2 maps, guarantee an ace already, that's amazing. Remember, these teams are in competition for a playoff spot right now with the way their teams are lined up in terms of matches won already, etc. So everything counts when it comes to this Liquid versus DPG match. If Liquid won without an ace match today, they would overtake DPG in the rankings. It's really crazy what can happen today. DPG could, in theory, be outside of the playoff positions if today's matches go a certain way. So it's really, really crazy to me that that's a possibility in the first place. But yeah, it's just not been a great season for them. They are 4-4. And so are Liquid. The good news for DPG is they're 4-4 while having gone into a couple of ace matches on their way to losing. So they actually have 14 points, whereas Liquid are 4-4 with only 12 points. So it's a little bit of a difference there. And that is an important difference because points are the main determining factor. So, for example, Team GP are 6-2. They also only have 14 points because pretty much every series they won was in an ace match. So they got less they got less points for their wins, and their losses weren't in an ace match. They got no bonus points there. That's how this league works, just as a quick reminder to you all. It's going to be seeing our Phoenix on the way up from Hero then as Harstem builds Phoenix as well. So we're going to have a Phoenix on Phoenix Ward to begin with. Hero is so much faster on the Nexus, but does Harstem have something of a Phoenix advantage already? Large map to go across here, so I guess we'll see very soon what exactly the situation is. A couple of probes are going down. Looks like Harstem, the Observer can't even find what that is. As do you see Harstem pulling his Phoenix back. Again, it's tough to justify going across the map right now as Hero starts to Twilight, so he will move away from this Phoenix setup, and it's really important for Harstem if this turns out to be a Dark Shrine, that he gets some detection on the way. Obviously, otherwise it's going to be very problematic for, well, self-explanatory reasons. It's going to be seen then the Twilight is done, waiting for confirmation of what we're going to see. Well, we're going to have a Phoenix fight here. Harstem gets the better start as he keeps his Phoenix alive on low HP, and I think he realizes a little bit like, oh, this is really good for me. Takes the risk of lifting the Stalker, but yeah, that was really good for Harstem, winning the ground fight. We'll see if that can lead to anything else for him here as we continue through, but yeah, just good start. And that's not something you're usually expecting to see happen, so yeah, that was exciting. Yeah, you can see Hero lost a Phoenix, a couple of Stalkers. Harstem didn't lose much at all. He's going to go over here and empower this gateway, it would seem. Because he killed a Phoenix as well, right? It just means he's got the Phoenix advantage. And that means he can do this without risking kind of being a little bit behind. Again, Hero built the Twilight, but has not made use of the Twilight just yet. Love what Harstem is doing with the Stalkers. He was zoning the Phoenix a little bit. These Zards are awkward because you kind of want to lift them with the Phoenix, right? But then obviously if you lift them with the Phoenix, your Phoenix are inactive and not shooting at other Phoenix. So he's going to do it now. Gets a quick kill. Isn't punished for it. I thought he could maybe have done that a little bit better or a little bit more. But it's a risky game you're playing because I think that's in a big way kind of what your opponent is playing for as well. Dark Shrine finally starts up on both sides. That's hilarious. They're going to DT each other. And it's kind of in sync as well. After Harstem initially had a much later Twilight Council, just Hero waited forever to do anything with the Twilight Council. So they're going to kind of DT each other in sync, which, yeah, like I say, is kind of fascinating in all honesty. Really interested as to how that turns out. Well, Robo is coming up from Harstem at least, so he's going to be a little bit better set up for the DTs. I don't believe there's a Robo at all from Hero who's also gone into Blink. So that's going to be a pretty huge determining factor here, that's for sure. Very, very interesting. It's just going to be seeing our DTs moving around a little bit then, seeing what they can get up to. DTs are here, like I say. Observers on the way. His Harstem just super batteries to hold the wall. He is starting to lose some probes as DTs get up into the main base. Hero starts to make an Oracle, as I believe he actually saw what's going on. Oh, it wasn't the DTs, it was the Phoenix in the main base. The Phoenix going to start trading out there. Makes that kind of interesting as well, I suppose. Just going to be seeing our DTs actually broke through in the end, but there's the Observer, and we can just lift them and get rid of them. Harstem losing out on probes. Like I say, his own DTs have yet to make a play, so unfortunately without making a play, you're not going to get much done. So Harstem doesn't really take advantage of maybe his chance, because like I say, you had to make an Oracle here as Hero, so it's still not ideal, the detection which he has. Did Harstem actually, he did get the Dark Shrine still, right? Am I crazy? Yes, there we go, I'm making some DTs now. I guess just no pylon on the map, so no real way to get them across. He was just trying to find the right time to make use of that and to really bring them into play. Yeah, it's all well and good me shouting, make the DTs, but yeah, you gotta actually have a way to do it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, good wall-offs here and there with the Stalkers. Like I say, obviously the Oracle for detection is not ideal, so you're limited to how many revelations you can cast, so it definitely isn't ideal at all. If he sees it and he forces one revelation, he can maybe then move the other DTs in and still have a very good time, a very successful time even, so we'll see what happens. Here I'm warping in another DT of his own. It's a very weird little PvP situation we find ourselves in right now. As our Phoenix still controlling the map from Harstem, it would seem, adding an Immortal on, making use of the fact that he has a Robo facility while his opponent does not, so just making the most of that for the moment as our Phoenix come up around the top side. A Forge dropping down now as well. The Phoenix is going to dive into the main base, so again, Harstem on the map with his Phoenix, and yet he's not the one finding the damage. It seems to always be Hero that gets in with the Phoenix, does some damage, even though he has less of them, so maybe Harstem just missing some map control as well, not really seeing everything he needs to be seeing to make the most of this. And now he's, I think, trying to cut the Phoenix off through the bottom side with his own Phoenix, but he's going to miss them. I actually think they might have recalled home. I see, is that the group of them there? I think he might have just caught them bottom left. Again, sorry, it's tough for me to see without observing. Yeah, there's two of them still here. Did he recall the rest home? I'm just wondering why there's only two left. Did we miss something? Yeah, Harstem's Dark Shrine was definitely scouted. That's why Hero built the Oracle and started to set up the wall off and stuff. He started to do that immediately as his own DTs go into the main, or the Phoenix were in the main base, and he scouted basically, so yeah, it was scouted, but I still feel like it was worth going for. Like I say, with only an Oracle up for detection, it's not exactly ideal. You know, all of this said and done, Harstem does have equal supply overall It's a lot of Blink Stalkers from his opponent, but he's been building Immortals. Now, he is behind an upgrade, but if he's just got Immortals, that upgrade might not matter as much, because it's not like this is the exact same army versus the exact same army. And that's going to be the real intriguing point of this upcoming fight, that these armies are just different. So some of the advantages slash disadvantages that you could talk about maybe aren't as apparent. Obviously, Harstem still has a lot of Phoenix in his army comp as well. We'll see if he can bring those into Usador. There are some of the Phoenix, I guess, still here from Hero. Gonna start fighting those Immortals, put in some work. The Zealots definitely put in work too. The Phoenix will win out in the skies, and then Harstem can use those to lift up some Stalkers, etc. And I actually think this fight goes a little bit better, perhaps, for Harstem, especially now he's lifting some Stalkers just out of the fight. An extra Immortal shows up. Overall, the supplies are dropping pretty evenly, though, so it doesn't seem to be too favored to one over the other guy. Phoenix lifting up again as the Stalkers trying to make a play on the Immortals. Will lose the Archon at the front here. Harstem has not moved forward into that Stasis Ward, which is nice. Getting caught there would kind of suck. Maybe just a Zealot or two getting caught would be okay. I gotta say, I actually really think that the Phoenix have put in some serious work here. Lifting the Stalkers again. This Immortal will go down. Harstem still has a little bit better supply, but remember, he's working with some Phoenix still, and, well, he's got another Immortal on the way. It's not ready yet. He actually does have more army supply, just don't know where it is. A couple of Zealots off to the right-hand side and so on. Very back and forth PvP engagement here where it's really, really close. Obviously, Harstem finally finishes his own upgrades. The upgrades are even now. Oh, that's really nice. Getting the hit on the Immortal right away, and it doesn't have a Super Battery Harstem to really make more of that. There's another Immortal showing up. I feel like he just forgot about that Immortal in the main base for a long time here, which is a real shame because obviously that Immortal is maybe meant to get a little bit more done. You need to be really careful with that Immortal. You do not want to just be giving it up for free. It gets blinked on, and that's the issue. Those units are just so good at finding good little bits of damage here. Finally, the Phoenix go for the Prism, but this is a move that maybe comes too late. If Harstem had found that earlier, he really improves his setup. Now I'm just, again, worried that these Immortals are just going to keep on getting picked off. Maybe this is not enough Stalkers now, but Harstem's going to type GG as Hero wins it out. Ooh, an intense first game of this PvP. Very winnable for Harstem at times. I think just a couple of things not quite going right. I think his own DTs never really got involved. That was a big play. Obviously, Hero got his DTs, and even Phoenix involved in a lot of pressure and aggression. Let me get that one ready to go on the tree. Now, has the present still got enough ink on it to stamp again? It did. Nice. Alright, Kelazhur and Hashtem's Harstem's map pick. Maybe looking for nice big map, a longer game perhaps. We'll see very soon what his plan turns out to be in this in general. Alright, turn the camera back on, guys. We can get the Gruchin sub up while this game starts. The tree looks really nice, thank you. Helen decorated it. Alright. Gruchin, you also got a sub stamp with Hair Doctor. Hey, it actually focused that time. Thank you so much, camera. Alright, like I say, good progress on the tree, guys, so far. A couple hours in. Liking the progress, liking the progress. Alright, let's keep it going then. Bottom left, taking the first game is Hero, a red Protoss player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. In the top right, blue Protoss from Team Liquid is Harstem. I really do, looking back and thinking back, really wish he made more of his Phoenix. He had so much map control of his Phoenix. He won the Phoenix War, and then he never made use of it. Alright, well. Get this up and ready to go. Papa Mitch gonna drop the 10 gifted subs. Thank you so much, mate. How are you doing? I have got your polar bear. And I will put some, I'll get you a special bauble for the gifted subs as well. If you are a gifted sub from Papa Mitch, please tag me during a break or so when I will see it. And tell me that you would like a decoration. Just because when we have like a ton of gifted subs, I don't want to write out 10 decorations every time or something if only like 2 people are here. So if you get gifted a sub and you want a decoration, just ping me in a break or so. Tell me, hey, I got gifted a sub. I want my decoration on the tree. And I'll get you sorted out. I guess as this game just gets set up, Hero low ground expand, but obviously Harstem looking to open 2 gates, so we'll see if that amounts to any pressure from Harstem or if he just expands. Let me just shout these subs out quickly. Papa Mitch, 10 gifted subs to Lamplight 2 for the 3-month resub. Send Manager for the 1-month Genesis only. Verka, Ceci2 Smash for the 2-month resub. Squeeze for the 1 month. Peruvian Swarm for the 6-month resub. Grez 1993. Get Who for the 4-month resub. And KSCA 6781. Thank you so much, Papa Mitch, for the gifted Subarinos. I have a different pack of stickers for this situation as well. Oh my god, this is going to be amazing. This entire Christmas period is going to be mental, guys. I went crazy in the shop the other day. They kind of looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? Are you sending, like, how many gifts are you sending? I was like, oh, I'm just going to hang this all on my tree. And they were like, what? Like, why? I was like, don't you worry about it, shopper. As we do get this roll, I'm just going to see the Stargate from Heroes. He's going to Stargate before you expand. Harstem will just end up expanding, so just doesn't really worry about it at all. Just gets this expansion going. And, yeah, has the double gates of unit production at least, and will then drop down to Twilight Council straight away. So, a lot of this hence comes down to just how you defend the, a lot of this really comes down to how you defend the oracles, right? Because if you could defend the oracles really well here as Harstem, you should get into a really fantastic position. But if those oracles are able to do damage, that's when you're going to be in a little bit more trouble. Papa Mitch on the freaking $50 donation as well. Dude, thank you so much for going above and, quite frankly, beyond. Thank you so much for the generosity. Thank you very much indeed. Alright, I'm totally figuring out a system for when we get gifted subs. Like I said, I've got so many tools to work with this year. Oh yeah, am I going a bit crazy? Maybe. Alright, we get set up, and we're just going to be seeing our few units from Hero again, aggressive, but Harstem has the numbers to defend, so that's not really going to amount to anything for now. We just continue through that without too much further problems. And, yeah, just waiting for the next step of this. As we get this roll on, a couple of depths do get up into the main. Harstem will start to lose out on a few probes there, so a little bit of damage being taken where he might have liked to have avoided it otherwise. Okay, probes dropping in the end. Just going to be seeing the 9 probes continuing to stay down there. I see a few of these adepts being chased around a little bit as well, being shot at a little bit. And we've seen 3 probes going down. And now just continuing on. Adepts and Stalkers setting up. I mean, again, Harstem just seems to be on the receiving end of a lot of the damage at the moment, so definitely ending up in a bit of trouble here. Just running into some problems. See if he can come away a little bit better off for this. We do see probes getting caught in the stasis ward as well. And he's just falling apart to a couple of depths. He's going to start going across the map, hoping he can maybe do some damage. And I kind of believe that he can still. I mean, he's got a bit of an army supply lead, so maybe going across the map, there is some potential for him. Let's see how it turns out. Let's see what he can do as walks into some Stalkers. Harstem obviously has Blink of his own after that starting Twilight Council was so much sooner for him. Surprised Hero is not playing towards a battery or anything, because this is where Harstem can win this game with the Blink control being in his favor. Well, he's going to just dodge Stalker shots over there on that right side. That was some crisp, clean last second micro, but he has no warp in potential. So if he can't warp in, then this attack will be handled. And that's just going to kind of be the end of it, unfortunately. It feels as though this is already coming to a close, guys. Rip, rip, rip. This is seemingly all going wrong. Stalker's coming in, going to shoot the battery down. Is going to just take that away right away now. And just going to be seeing these other Stalkers showing up and continuing along. Stalkers facing off against each other right here. Dark Shrine coming up from Harstem. The probe still coming through. I mean, I like the Dark Shrine. It's definitely the right idea, but he's down an entire base. Sorry, not down an entire base. He's got this base that's kind of out of position from Hero in general. Hero just in general trying to play this trickery, and, well, Hero's now going to come through himself, and this fight in the middle is actually not terrible for Harstem. He has an okayish number of Stalkers, just some of them are such low HP, and he's going to lose a lot very quickly at the end here, and that very quickly leads to him just losing out completely. Yeah, that's going to be about all they wrote in that regard, it seems. Is we're just going to be seeing how Stalkers continue to the top. Stasis Ward catches as well. Harstem continue to take big hits, and Dragon Phoenix game at the very least will guarantee themselves an ace match today. Dark will only need one map off of Clem to try and close this out and win this out. And that's obviously rough for Clem as well, because if Clem has to 2-0, remember, if he wins the first game, Dark can map pick game number 2. So even if Clem wins the first map, then Dark gets a map pick, and it's like, oh dear, right? Like, that becomes a problem very quickly. Because then if Dark just picks Pride of Altaris, then what the hell does Clem do on Pride? It's not unwinnable, but it's definitely going to skew the odds in Dragon Phoenix game in his favor. Dark Templar gets caught. Harstem is killing a few more probes elsewhere, though. I mean, the worker count is actually going to stay fairly even. It's just Hero now has so much more army supply. Harstem losing those additional Stalkers towards the end definitely working against him. And definitely coming in to be a little bit costly at the end. Yeah, and the next on to the third. Just going to be seeing our Cybercore still setting up. These Stalkers just continuing through, and again, the charge coming in on the side of Hero as well. Just something else to power up his setup right now. Couple of Adepts working their way around the right-hand side here and just getting rolling. Just going to be seeing the charge coming through, Prism coming up, Immortal on the way in. All of this getting up and ready to roll, so yeah. Just Harstem trying to get into some defensive units again. His worker count is okay. If he can force a fight that's good for him, obviously there's potential because the worker count is fairly even, so if the worker count is even, obviously there's always potential in kind of, you know, staying in the game. You just have to make up for the army supply you're currently missing. That's definitely the bigger problem here. As these Stalkers come across the map, and they will take a Stalker down. Continuing through to this other side. Plenty of units here from Hero. Gonna rock up this ramp, and, well, he is losing some pros back at home again, so Harstem will actually take a worker lead. He just needs to get a defense, right? Let's see if he can defend. Super Battery's already activated. Okay, and it's instantly dead, and he's just going to shoot through the first Immortal. One Immortal in the back still. Probes are pulling. Harstem knowing just try and survive and worry about the worker count again later. He just doesn't have enough, guys. As much as I want to believe he does. Harstem, his best chance was in that first game. I felt like he had a good setup. But Hero gets the 2-0 and thumbs up off to the side. As he gets the 2-0 victory, Hero will put Dragon Phoenix game into stellar position